Hello everybody, welcome to Deluxe Collectibles, and today I'm going to be doing a LEGO Worst to First for the LEGO Marvel Superhero sets from 2012. Now there are 16 sets that we are going to be going over in this video, and I will be including any of the polybags that were released in this year, and also the SDCC exclusive minifigures, because I wanted to have it be a comprehensive list here of all of the Marvel sets, and even though those ones might not compare to the larger scale sets, I still wanted to mention them and have an opportunity to share my thoughts, and letting you know as well, this is all my personal opinion. Of course, none of this is objective, even though for some of the picks here, I am trying to think of like what the wide appeal would be for everyone in the LEGO community, but at the end of the day, it comes down to my personal opinion here. But be sure to let me know your worst to first lists in the comment section down below. I'll be really interested to hear what your thoughts are on some of these sets, and let me know which ones you've picked up previously in your collection, or which ones you would really like to add to your collection. And I will let you know, unlike my other ranking videos, I will not be giving each set a score out of 5 for this. I will just be giving my thoughts, and then we'll move on to the next one. But without further ado, let's get into it here with number 16. Alright, so first up here we have the LEGO Captain America Ultra Build figure, and this one was set number 4597. It originally retailed for $14.99 in the US and then $17.99 in Canada. And these Ultra Build figures, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't really care for the design too much. I do like how LEGO was trying to make like LEGO action figures basically, but I just don't feel like the execution was too strong with them. I feel like the designs come off as a little wonky and honestly a little bare bones looking. It doesn't look like it has a lot of meat on it, so to say. I don't really think the design looks great as well, specifically for Captain America, because of course you can see that he's an actual like person, like a human, and the proportions there just don't look right. For two of the other ones that we will go over later, I feel like it fits a little bit more for them, but for Captain America, the proportions look completely off. It just comes off as looking very odd, so that's why this one's right at the bottom. And now let's move on to number 15. Next up here we have the LEGO Hulk Ultra Build figure, and this one was set number 4530, and it originally retailed for $14.99 in the US and then $17.99 in Canada. And once again, the Ultra Build concept is just not something for me. I just don't really think it works too well, and I feel like that was the overall consensus for the LEGO community, because this line definitely did not take off for Marvel. It took off a little bit more for Star Wars, I would say, but for Marvel specifically, I don't think it worked too well with the designs of the characters, and especially this Hulk here. I mean, he just looks very odd. It looks like his proportions are really disproportionate to each other. I mean, his chest looks massive and then his legs look very thin, and I feel like if he was bulky all over, then it would work a little bit more. And that goes back to my comment about there being a little bit more meat on the bones. I just don't think it looks bulky enough, especially for a character like this. But the place where this one does improve over the Captain America is definitely the face. I think it works a lot more for Hulk because he's more of a creature, of course. So I think the design definitely suits it a little bit more than Captain America, but still, overall, I don't think it's too great of a concept. Now we've got the final Ultra Build figure here in the ranking, and this is Iron Man. It's set number 4529, and this one retailed for $14.99 in the US and then $17.99 in Canada. And once again, an Ultra Build figure here. As you can tell, I've put all three of them right at the bottom of the list. They just don't appeal to me, and I feel like most people will agree with this, although I'd be really interested here if anyone in the comments actually likes these Ultra Build figures, or what other other pros can you point out about them? Because honestly, it's kind of hard to find the pros for them. Now, the Iron Man one, the reason why I put it above the others is because I think it fits the most here because they look more mechanical, of course, and I feel like that didn't really fit too well with Captain America or Hulk because they're more flesh and bones, but at least Iron Man is in armor, so I felt like it fit a lot more. Now, the arms still look a little wonky, especially with those huge shoulder pads there. I mean, those just look very disproportionate, but I do like the cannon on his back there. At least that adds a bit more of a play feature to it and a more unique design to this Iron Man armor. It kind of gives it off like a War Machine vibe as well, and I think the helmet was pretty well done for what it was, but still, overall, I don't really think it hits the nail on the head for this concept of Ultra Build figures, but still a nice attempt on LEGO's part. Alright, now we've got the LEGO Quinjet Polybag. This one is set number 30162, and for these micro build polybags, I've never been a huge fan of the concept. There's been a few of them that I've collected, but for this one here in particular, I feel like it's an alright representation of the Quinjet build, but I don't feel like it's anything amazing, and I feel like among the other sets in this ranking here, I don't feel like it's able to stand upon, like, above them in any sort of way. So I think it's still a cool concept and a well done scaled down build here, and some of you might disagree with me putting this above the Ultra Build figures, but those figures I am just not a big fan of, and I kind of prefer the idea of scaling something down. At least I feel like that kind of adds a bit of a challenge for the designers to make it still look accurate to the original build. So I think that these are well done, and I do like the micro build concept a bit more than at least the Ultra Build ones, but that's all I have to say for the polybag. Now we've got another polybag here, and this one is the LEGO Thor and the Cosmic Cube, and this one was set number 30163, and this one has a cool design to it. I do like the idea of how Thor's breaking some rocks here. At least it adds a little bit of a play feature to it, and the Thor minifigure has a really great design as well, a very nicely detailed torso, some different colored arms there, and then I also do like the cape as well, and his face, just going over all of the features there. I think for a first introduction to Thor as a minifigure, I think they did a really great job capturing that, but the thing holding it back is, of course, it's not an exclusive minifigure here in this set because he is included in two of the other sets from this wave of Marvel sets of this year, so it's nothing exclusive, so it kind of takes away that draw for this polybag, but I think for anyone who wasn't able to purchase those higher price sets, this is definitely one that I'm sure they were really glad to be able to get their hands on. So it is a good minifigure overall, I would say, and an overall alright polybag. Okay, now we've got the LEGO Hawkeye with equipment polybag, and this one is set number 30165, and here we have Hawkeye, of course, with a little armor stand here, or equipment stand, I suppose, and it has some cool accessories to it, so that's why this one kind of goes above Thor. I might not prefer the character of Hawkeye over Thor, even the design here, but at least we are getting some extra accessories here, kind of bulking up the polybag a bit more, and I do like the design of this Hawkeye. I don't think the hair really fits Jeremy Renner's portrayal of the character in the first Avengers film, but still, I think it's a good minifigure with a really nicely detailed torso, and even some printing on the legs there as well, so there's quite a bit of detail. I like his bow and arrow as well, so overall I think it all comes together pretty well, but still a bit of a lackluster polybag. Alright, here we have the LEGO Marvel Superheroes Iron Man and Captain America 2012 Collector's Preview set here. This was for 2012 Toy Fair, and you got two minifigures here of Iron Man and Captain America as a sort of tease for what was to come for LEGO Marvel Superheroes as a theme. And for the two figures here, first up we have Iron Man, and I think that his design is good, but it's definitely more primitive with that printing on the actual minifigure head. head instead of having it be a molded helmet, and it definitely makes sense. I mean, it gets the point across, so they didn't really need to spend money on molding a helmet at the time, but I still think that the design definitely suffers from that, but it definitely leads to a unique exclusive here. And then the Captain America figure actually reminds me kind of the Bucky Barnes uniform for Captain America in the comics, so that's kind of a unique take there. And I like the eyes as well. It definitely looks very menacing with those white eyes there. And then you can see his mouth, of course. The torso's nicely detailed. He has some red hands. So overall, they both have some really good designs there, and this one is above some of the others in this ranking because at least they're exclusive, but they're still not minifigures that I absolutely love or feel like I really need, so that's why it's still lower here at number 10. But now let's move on to number 9. Alright, so next up here we have the LEGO Phoenix or Jean Grey SDCC 2012 exclusive. Now this was of course given away at 2012 San Diego Comic-Con, and this is a really cool and unique minifigure here. I really loved the design, and it was super cool to get an X-Men themed minifigure here instead of just having it be maybe a variant of an Avengers character. We're getting something really exclusive here, and I love the torso and the legs and how they go together. The color scheme as well of the green and the yellow looks fantastic. I like the hairpiece as well. It definitely stands out with that bright red, and I also love the cardstock that they use behind it to hold up the figure. I think that looks really cool, kind of giving it a comic book design there. So just overall a really cool package here, and for anyone who was able to get this, they are definitely very lucky because I'm fairly sure most of the SDCC minifigures go for quite a bit of money. So if you were able to get your hands on this at the time of the convention, then you are really lucky for that, and I think overall it's a great figure. Alright, now we've got the LEGO Marvel Superheroes, the Hulk Polybag, and this one here includes, of course, a minifigure version of the Hulk, which was a really cool idea because normally you would see Hulk as this huge big fig, but now to get him in a minifigure, you get to have that really cool printing there, and I think that's why this one was just so interesting to me. Now, I never personally own this Polybag, but I think that it definitely has that cool, unique design that's something that most fans of the character would really want to add to their collection. I really do like that. I love the face print. The hair as well is a really cool piece also. And then just the torso printing and the legs with the ripped pants. That looks really great. So overall, a fantastic polybag here. This is what I like to see with exclusive minifigures. So definitely a really great inclusion. Alright, now we've got the LEGO Spider-Man in black symbiote costume, and this one was an SDCC 2012 exclusive along with Jean Grey or Phoenix, and this was definitely a super cool and desirable minifigure to get because of course you're getting this really awesome variant of Spider-Man that is just so cool looking, even though it's technically more simplistic to like other Spider-Man minifigures. It's still really cool to be able to own this one because it's just an awesome concept. Once again, really cool design with the cardstock, and what's interesting is that I'm fairly sure they either use the same torso or a similar torso for the Venom minifigure, which is really interesting. So I suppose it makes sense, but it is kind of an interesting tidbit there. Let me know if you have any more information on that, but for this one, I think it's good at the spot where it's at. I feel like it's better than most of the previous figures that we've mentioned previously, and definitely those Ultra builds, I would really say. So overall, a great exclusive. Alright, now we've got the LEGO Marvel Superheroes Loki's Cosmic Cube Escape, set number 6867. This one originally retailed for $19.99 in the US and then $24.99 in Canada. And this one includes 3 minifigures, which are Loki, Iron Man, and Hawkeye. Now, of course, in the scene from the film, Iron Man was not included in it, but I still like him being included in this set because it's cool that we're getting an extra minifigure here. And then Loki and Hawkeye look great as well. I love the printing on Hawkeye's torso, and I think Loki looks fantastic as well with some really great detail. Now, coming from like the year 2020 now when I'm recording this, that Loki minifigure doesn't seem as great now because we haven't really got an upgrade for so long, but still, it's a good minifigure overall. I think they could definitely use a different face print. Even at the time, I don't really think it fit like Tom Hiddleston too well, but it's still a decent minifig nonetheless, and the build is substantial enough as well. I like the features of how you can send Loki kind of flying off of the truck there, and I like how it's like a shield truck as well. I kind of think that's a really cool idea, and I love the color scheme of it as well. I really like that darker like navy blue color. I think that looks fantastic. So overall, it's a really fun like little $20 playset here. So for this one, that's why it's at number 6, and now let's move on to number 5. Okay, now we've got the LEGO Marvel Superheroes Captain America's Avenging cycle. This one is set number 6865, and this one originally retailed for $12.99 in the US and then $15.99 in Canada. And this is actually one of the sets that I do own personally in my collection, so I can definitely talk about this one more in depth. And I can really say I love that Captain America figure. I actually like the design of his mask being printed on the minifigure head. I know they've recently upgraded that to being an actual molded piece, which is definitely nice, but I still didn't mind this design as well, and I like the way that his outfit came out. It definitely looks better in the minifigure form than it did in the film. I would say the Avengers Captain America costume is one of the weaker costumes in that film, but this one's cool as well because we get the Avenging cycle there, of course, which has a really cool design as well. I like the color of it with that darker red kind of going with the blue as well, and then the Chitauri included in the set are really great as well because you're getting two really detailed minifigures there, and it can definitely help you build up that army for sure because this is the cheapest set from this wave, at least if you don't include polybags, and I think that they just did a really great job with that. The builds as well for the Chitauri for what they're riding on look great, and of course we get that awesome Captain America shield, which is such a fantastic accessory. So this is just a really fun smaller set, and that's why it's at this spot. And now let's move on to number 4. Alright, now we've got the LEGO Marvel Superheroes Hulk's Helicarrier Breakout set number 6868, and this one originally retailed in the US for $49.99 and then in Canada for $64.99, and this is another set that I do own in my collection, and this is a really fun playset here. I love the idea that you're getting like a portion basically of the Helicarrier, of the interior at least, from a really cool scene in the film. I remember really enjoying this one, especially how Loki's able to switch places and trick Thor and then have him drop out of the Helicarrier, which was such an intense scene. I really love the Hulk as well here. I like this big fig quite a bit. I think they did a great job with that. The color scheme sure could have maybe been a little bit darker, but I actually don't mind that brighter green. It definitely works within this set here, and I like Hawkeye as well included in the set. Of course, we've already seen him a few times just alone in this ranking, and Loki as well we have seen in one of the cheaper sets, so it's not like those are super exclusive, including Thor as well, but definitely the big draw here is that Hulk big fig, and the build as well is really cool, and you even get that extra detail of one of the screens having Galaga on it, which is a super cool extra detail from the film that they've now translated into this LEGO set. So I just think there's so many cool details here, and it's such a cool and iconic scene now from this film that I really love seeing it portrayed in LEGO, and the jet as well for S.H.I.E.L.D. looks really great as well. Once again, I love that color scheme of that darker navy blue, so I think altogether this comes together to be a really great set. Alright, now we have the LEGO Marvel Superheroes Spider-Man's Doc Ock Ambush, and this one is set number 6873, and this one originally retailed in the US for $29.99 and then in Canada for $39.99, and I have a story that goes along with this one because I do own it in my collection. I remember for Christmas what I assume would be 2012 or maybe 2013 because I obviously could have got this set later on, but it was most likely 2012. I remember Christmas Christmas Eve laying in bed, and I was thinking about all the things I had asked for Christmas. Of course, not trying to sound like I'm greedy here, but all of the Lego sets, the various ones that I had thought about wanting for Christmas, and I remember not putting this one on my list, and it made me really nervous because Spider-Man was my favorite superhero. He actually still is my favorite Marvel superhero, so I was really disappointed in myself for forgetting to put this one on my list. And then I woke up Christmas morning, I was opening my gifts, and then I opened one, and it turned out to be this Lego set, and I was so excited. My mom somehow knew at the time. I had not been able to comprehend how she knew that I wanted this set, but it made sense because I was such a big Spider-Man fan. But I was just so excited to build this one and have it in my collection because it was just one of the first Spider-Man sets that they reintroduced into Lego, because of course originally we had those Sam Raimi sets, but now we finally had this ultimate version of Spider-Man here. Of course, it's meant to be based off of the Disney XD series, which I actually enjoy. I think that it's a fine series. It's definitely not great, but I think that it's still a fun time, and you get some really cool characters here. Of course, that Spider-Man, which by now we're definitely really sick of that one. Now we have a newer version, but at the time, like, this was just a really cool minifigure to be able to get your hands on. And then you had Iron Fist as well, who look fantastic. I really like that character and its design. And then Dr. Octopus as well. Now, this version of Doc Ock is so menacing in that series. It was just really cool to get him in here because he's just such a cool villain with a really awesome design. So it's just a really fantastic set. There's definitely some nostalgia there for me, but I did keep it at number 3 because I feel like the next two sets here in this list are a little bit better than this one. The second one I might not like personally as much as this one, but I can almost like appreciate it more and recognize that it has some better minifigures in there. And now that I'm able to look back and see how many times they've made this Spider-Man minifigure and how many times we've gotten Spider-Man sets, I'm almost more grateful for the one that's next in this list. So that's all I have to say for Doc Ock's ambush right here. But now let's move on to number 2. Alright, so at number 2 here we have the LEGO Marvel Superheroes Wolverine's Chopper Showdown, set number 6866. This one originally retailed in the US for $19.99 and then in Canada for $24.99. And this set includes 3 amazing minifigures. These are Wolverine, Deadpool, and Magneto. And as I was talking about previously in the last spot for the Spider-Man ones, I feel like now I have more of an appreciation for this set, even though I don't actually own it in my collection, which I'm really disappointed on looking back, but I have more of an appreciation because these minifigures are very sought after now, and I think that it was just so cool that at some point we were getting a Deadpool minifigure in a set. I mean, now it's kind of hard to think of having that because Deadpool is definitely related to like so much rated R content with his films that are out now, which I absolutely love, but I feel like it just kind of decreases the chances of us getting another Deadpool minifigure. Now, I know we've had variants of the character as like San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, but still it makes the chances a little bit more slim, and the value on this one is just so high now. And then the Magneto and Wolverine figures are great as well. It's just a real treat when we get an X-Men style set because we really don't get that too much. It's either like a Marvel comic set that is more like mainstream, or it's like an MCU set, so you don't really get those as often. So it's just really cool to have one of these. Now, the helicopter isn't exactly the strongest build, but I think it's definitely a well done build for what it is, and I feel like it suits Deadpool pretty well and something that he would definitely need to take on Wolverine, who also just looks fantastic. It was really cool to get this character back then in 2012. Now, not for me personally, of course, but just in general for fans of LEGO Marvel, they were definitely excited about this one. So overall, it's a great set that I think I even look back at more fondly than I did when it was originally released. So there it is, Wolverine's Chopper Showdown, and now let's move on to number 1. Alright, at number 1 here we have the LEGO Marvel Superheroes Quinjet Aerial Battle Set number 6869, and this one originally retailed for $69.99 in the US and then $89.99 in Canada. And this set has another story to go along with it, similar to the Spider-Man one. I do own this one in my collection, and I remember getting to go to the Legoland Discovery Center, and I was super excited for this experience, and I didn't know what I was going to buy, but I'm pretty sure I had saved up just around $100, so I knew there was going to be either a big set that I was going to purchase or a bunch of smaller sets. And then when I got there, I had the whole cool experience of Legoland, and then I finally had to pick out what set I wanted, and it was a really difficult choice, but I finally decided to go with the Quinjet Aerial Battle because it just looked like such a cool set. It really seemed worth it with the minifigures that you get, which I will go over here. They do include Iron Man, Loki, Thor, Black Widow, and a Chitauri warrior as well, so it was just really cool to get those characters, especially with Black Widow being exclusive to this set at the time. That was a really cool inclusion, and the build just looks amazing. It still holds up to this day as one of my favorite Marvel sets. I think I might have some of that nostalgia for it, but I definitely think at the time as well, it was just a really amazing build, and I think it definitely stands among the other ones in a really great way. I feel like this is the best build that we have from LEGO Marvel. Now, I could see maybe in the top 3 you kind of switching around those just depending on what your personal interests are, but with me having that personal story for it and that bit of nostalgia, this one definitely stands at the top for me as the best LEGO Marvel Superheroes set for 2012. Alright, so that concludes my LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2012 Worst to First list here. Be sure to let me know if you'd like to see more of these LEGO Worst to First videos, because I would definitely like to continue them and do them for various themes. I'm planning a Ninjago one eventually, and I will eventually continue the Marvel ones as well. I'm not sure how frequently I'll be able to get these videos out because they will take heavy editing, of course, but hopefully they turn out well and that you enjoy the video. And if you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like on the video and also subscribe for future content as well. I would really appreciate the support, so thank you so much. Let me know all of your rankings down below as well, and let me know if you have any stories for these sets as well. Share any experiences that you had with them and why that makes them some of your favorite ones, or maybe even least favorite ones. So just let me know all of that in the comment section down below. I really appreciate you watching this video. I will see you all next time, and always remember, keep on collecting.